Hello everybody, Drifty here from Driftwood Gaming, and we're going to continue with our Let's Make a Game for Dungeons of Driftwood. This is going to be episode number 3, and I'm so excited to show you guys all the changes I've made off camera, and we're going to go over that right now. So let's get a little music going, close the game down. I could just start the game and show you guys what we have in game, but there's not too much in game right now. The only thing I have set up is basically the menu. And I've got this custom skill system that's similar to the way Final Fantasy XI handles the Blue Mage. So you can equip your skills, and you'll have like a set number of skills that you can equip from. And then you have to learn your skills by killing creatures and obtaining their essence, and then using that a certain number of those to learn the skill. And when you equip skills, they give you equipped bonuses. You can see under arrow here, we have a dizzying attack and wisdom plus 10, which is like your magic attack power. So by equipping, arrow or fire or ice or lightning, not only are you increasing your magic attack, but you're getting a passive state that's going to make all your physical attacks have a 5 to 10%, depending on the tier. So fire 1 will be a 5% chance to inflict a state on your opponent when you just do a melee attack, just from having the spell equipped. So I'll show you that in the database coming up soon. But also, you may be thinking, well, why should I equip ice when I have fire and they both do about the same amount of damage? Well, because of your equip bonus. Once again, going back to the Blue Mage setup in Final Fantasy XI, even if you equipped spells of the same tier, you're going to get a bonus from them, and that bonus is going to stack. So if you're going for like mostly magic attack power, then you can equip spells of the same type of different types, but it'll all add up. So if I were to have cure and fire, ice, and lightning, then I would have less magic attack power than if I went with all elemental. So I have that 10 extra magic attack power or wisdom in this game. Cure is going to add extra maximum hit points. Now what we see up here, the common, uncommon, rare, this is from the default in Yanfly's equipped skill equipped plugin, and I'm going to change this around a bit. I just started messing around with this plugin today, but I found it super cool, and I'm going to alter the way that I originally had in my head, the way I was going to do the skills, to go with this equipped skill system, because I really like this whole setup where I can have passive states and everything. So yeah, that's pretty cool. As for what you can equip, you have a bunch of, since you're only going to have one character in this game, this dungeon crawler, you have lots of things that you can equip. So the idea is to constantly make progression and get your character stronger and stronger. In every battle, you should have something to show for some sort of progression. And every level that you complete, which will be like 5 battles, and that will award some sort of stat point that you can allocate to your skills, and I'm going to get to that in a second. And every 5 levels, you're going to get some special item that will, I haven't decided exactly what that's going to do, but at every 5 levels will be a boss fight, and when you kill that boss, there's going to be some other level of progression that I'm still working on. Right now we have, we're using Yanfly's like materia type plugin. I forgot the exact name of it. He's got so many plugins now, it's hard to keep track, which is awesome, right? But instead of using the old enchant system that I used in The Legend of Driftwood, in this system, in this game, I'm going to use his other enchantment type upgrade system, where we have a glyph, a mark, and 2 orbs. I'm going to rename these and flavor text them accordingly, but there's just a ton of work that we got to get done still. But it's cool you can customize without even unequipping anything right now. For the status, I'm using, I've added icons to all of the elements and renamed some of the elements and added a new element called Venom, which is actually in The Legend of Driftwood, but I have too many elements in Legend of Driftwood. I'm going to keep it simple and probably stay with this. Maybe add 1 or 2 more, but not too many. More or less add physical type abilities, melee and stuff like that. And for the elements, we'll keep it kind of like that. I've added some states. I've taken a lot of the stuff that I've made from... let's get that going. Sorry for the pause. Some of the assets I've made in my past games, I've brought some of it over because a lot of it didn't even make the final cut of the game. So I figured, well, that'll never see the light of day. I'm sure you guys can look inside the just put your RPG project, what is it, game dot something project. Just put that in the folder, and you can open up The Legend of Driftwood and take whatever resources. I said this in the video for the free download. Go ahead and use any of the stuff I made for your games, because I make it for you guys, and it wouldn't be like you're stealing my work. It would be you're honoring my work. Just give me a shout out sometime in the end or whatever, you know, and it's all good. So definitely use whatever I make to help you on your games. I mean, that's what Yanfly does too. You know, he makes these sample projects, and he lets people just put them in their game, and it's just to keep MV going and keep it fresh, and everybody evolving and working off of each other. What I like about the RPG Maker community is it's one of the least toxic communities, and that's hard to find on the internet. I'm sure most of you already know the internet is very toxic. It's got a lot of trolls, but the MV community is pretty strong, and it's usually a helpful, good environment, and that's why I've kind of geared my channel towards that environment, because you guys are awesome. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, I've taken a lot of the resources that I've made in previous games and brought them over to save time, especially since I never made it to the final version of the demo. But here we go, back to what I was saying, that the skill system. This is why I only have one character, because I'm not even done adding the skills yet. But you can see all of the skills that we have set up already. We've got an elemental skill. We've got a skill for each basic elemental. So the elemental skill, like when you cast arrow, I'm going to show you in the database. There's a few more things I want to show you first. But what it'll do is it has a custom damage formula. So the enemy will have a spell, but it'll just be a copy-pasted version with a different formula for the enemies. And you're going to have a special version of that formula that looks for variables. And when you cast a spell, like say fire, for example, it's going to read your magic attack power plus your elemental skill plus your fire skill, but in a certain way. And as it ranks up in tiers, it gets multiplied differently. In a sense that you don't want to just level your elemental skill. You want to kind of focus on one of these, but also level your elemental skill. Because if you level your elemental skill, it's going to increase all of these by one. But if you focus on one, it's going to progress that particular skill twice as fast. And since the skill system in this game is going to be random based, you don't know what skill you're going to get. It'll be random. So it wouldn't be a good idea to focus everything on like lightning skill and then ignore the rest, because what if you never get that lightning? Or if you get lightning, you could focus on it, but then if you find a better skill that's like earth tech, you know, tier 3 earth, then you're probably going to switch to earth. But if you haven't leveled elemental skill, then all your points are in lightning. Your newest spell isn't going to be as strong as your tier 1 spell. So anyway, there's going to be a lot of random elements in this game. As for weapon types, there's going to be random weapon drops and armor drops and stuff. For armor skill, I only have one skill, the defense skill, since I've renamed actual defense from defense to vitality in this game, and I'm substituting the in-game's built-in defense for vitality, VIT. I made a custom skill, the defense skill, which is a variable that's being checked in all of the enemies' skills. So for every skill that's in the game, there's two versions of it. One for the enemies and then one for the hero, so that they can have custom damage formulas. And the reason why I had to do that was if I were to level up my fire skill a ton and I give the enemy that same fire skill, well, they're going to hit me for as hard as my fire skill is. So it doesn't make sense that the stronger I am with fire, that the enemies would get stronger. So I had to make a custom skill for them, was just a copy paste with a different damage formula. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the status. And I'll go in the database and show you what I've got so far. This is a test battle right here, just to test out the skills. Hopefully that's not too loud. Alright. I also added Yanfly's targeting system. Kind of convoluted with two soundtracks playing, sorry about that. So you can see that little crystal icon. Also, I can target myself with damaging spells, which is really cool because I don't know, I've always liked that that kind of feature where you're not limited to it has to target, you know, your cure spells can only target your allies. Because what if you're fighting a zombie and if you cure the zombie, they take damage? I always like that kind of thing. So all of these skills are they're different. So this moth's cure spell is different from my cure spell. And they're using different formulas, even though it says the same thing. The player wouldn't know by just by playing it, but in the editor, if you were to look at in the database, you would notice that. Same thing with the lightning. Of course, the moth isn't getting any equip bonus. They just have a lightning spell that's based off their magic attack power or wisdom. And for the player, though, it's getting a shocking attack. So I have chilling attack, soaking attack, shocking attack. And when I attack, there's a chance that we can get a state. And you can see we actually got the state. It's a 5% chance. So that was only like, what, combined to 15 approximate that we'd get one. We got one. So that's a DOT plus all thunder damage is increased by 25% or 20%. I'll have to look again. So that would do more damage than normal. Plus you saw the DOT ticking away on him. We can finish that moth off. That's the only enemy that we've made in the game so far. And we made the item for Heal Moth Essence. So basically all creatures are going to have an essence. When you kill them, it's a guaranteed drop that you're going to get 1 essence per kill. That way the player always feels like there's some sort of progression. Even if they didn't get the better drops, they still got an essence which they can use to unlock other skills. At the beginning of the game, I've already thought of an idea for an intro, and I'm going to take a theme from one of my favorite books and movies, The Count of Monte Cristo. And I don't want to spoil the storyline, but it's going to be very similar if you know of that. If you've read that book or saw the movie, I think there was an old one they made in the 70s, and then there was another one that came out in like 2000 or something. I've seen them both. They're both good. And I've read 3 versions of the book. And one of them, I didn't like the ending, but the other 2 were pretty good. Anyway, The Count of Monte Cristo, really, really good storyline. I'm going to take a lot of references from that for that intro. So it involves betrayal and everything. Let me catch up on chat real quick. This is being live streamed, but I'm not going to spend too much time because this will be on YouTube and I don't want to annoy people. What's up, Squall Storm? Thanks for coming, Chaos. Yeah, it's a lot of customization. I could help you add blue Chaos Control. Okay, so into the database, I've customized a few of you heard the battle music. I brought that over, Final Fantasy VII, OC Remix. All that will be in the credits. So you saw the art. I think I already talked about that. We're going to skip past that. For the classes, I did all this before. I showed you all of that. I've only added these skills right here to test them out. But we're going to remove those for when you start actually playing. You'll have to actually earn those. But at the beginning, when you first get thrown in the dungeon, you're going to have one person there, an old priest who was locked away. And he's going to teach you the spell Cure, because it's kind of important to have an ability that can heal you. So you're going to be given Cure, but that's the only spell that you're going to be given. The rest you're going to have to like kind of earn and randomly get, which is kind of cool. So I've increased the maximum, obviously you can see that, to 600, because I've kind of set it to where we'll probably have 300 skills, and I could add more if needed. I don't think we're going to even get that many, but 300 for the player skills, and then the enemy versions of those skills. So all of the enemy versions are different damage formulas. So let's take a look at the top. At the beginning, you have the regular attack, which is your attack power times 2 minus the enemy's defense. But I'm going to make an attack for each weapon, and we might do that in this episode because I mainly focused on the spells. So we're going to add more different attacks for like sword attack. They're all going to be named attack though. I don't know if I want to say dagger attack, sword attack. I don't know if I want to do that. I'm just gonna name them all attack for now. I've given it the battle animation for with the action sequence, so they jump across the screen, and also that for the enemy ones because it just looks more dynamic. But inside the damage formula, we're going to have it calling on variables. So let's look at how we would do something like that. For the fire skill, if you dig deep into the Legends of Driftwood, then you can find these skills. And I think there's a system in game where if you were to get the items, it might be at the end of the game when you get the monster arena. You can you can buy capture weapons, capture the enemies, capture certain monsters. There's like, I think there's like 12 or 16 or 18, I don't remember how many. You can capture those, and then once you've captured one, you can fight them in the arena. Or maybe you have to capture two, I don't know. Capture them, fight them in the arena, you get tokens. With those tokens, you can buy, I think they were tomes, or I know the thief glove I put in with the whole stealing system. So in order to get the whole, the theft skill tree, you would have to do the end game content. But I've taken these skills that they actually weren't in the game and just copy pasted them over, changed them all around completely so that, you know, they're now using equipped states and equipped bonuses, and they have different MP costs, different variances, different damage formula, different animations, you know, just copy pasted them in the essence that it's the same format that I already designed, but use it in a different way now. So I'm kind of deciding that all magic skills are going to have a higher variance than physical skills. By default, everything is 20% variance, and I'm thinking that all physical attacks, well, the majority of physical attacks are going to have 10 to 15% variance, and then the majority of magic spells are going to have like 35 to 50% variance, and I've set them all to 40% variance because you could just think about to me it seems like it could be less predictable. You know, if you hit somebody with a sword, it's going to be less predictable than it's going to be more predictable than if you were to cast a spell on them and how much magic you conjured. And so I wanted the magic to vary a little more wildly, especially with variables involved, so you don't have I had to disable armor scaling. Now, like I said in I think it was the last episode, I wasn't sure if I was going to use armor scaling. I'm opting out of using armor scaling. It's great if you want to simplify everything. It's a great plugin, but because I'm completely customizing all of the damage formulas based off of a ton of variables, this complicates it for me. So I've had to turn off Yanfly's armor scaling. I went ahead and instead of just making another episode of me adding plugins, I added them all, the majority of them, and turned off the ones that I wasn't going to use. And I've set some of the parameters in some of them and changed a few things, and I'm nowhere near done in the plugin manager. We'll be coming back to edit parameters for quite a few more episodes. But I'm sort of kind of doing content in between episodes just to, you know, make the project continue along and we don't get stuck in some sort of stalemate. But anyway, let's look at the damage formula. So in this damage formula for fire, we've got the actor's magic attack power times 2 plus variable number 1. And this is how you would put a variable in the damage formula. You would just type a V, and then you open up a brace, and then you put the number of the variable. Now remember not to go, it is variable 0001, but don't type it like that because you'll get a syntax error. Just type it 1. And then I'm adding that to variable 2, and I'm multiplying that variable times 2. And math works like that. So this will happen first. It'll multiply that, and then it'll add that to that. It's going to multiply these, and then add that to the sum. So variable 1 shouldn't be multiplied by anything. It's going to do all the multiplication first, and then add everything together. And I've allowed magic to critical because why not, right? I reduced the MP cost because I've set up the class to have a static growth rate with a very low MP by default. So, you know, you're going to start at level 1 with 10 MP. It's not a lot. So, I mean, by the time you get to level 20 or so, you'll have a good amount to play with, and these skills will seem like easy to cast, and you'll be able to just be a main caster. But at the start of the game, you'll have to kind of decide if you want to save your MP to heal or not. But But let's take a look at, now that you've seen this damage formula for the player, let's look at the same skill for the enemy. So you can see I have similar setup down here. Fire skill. Oh, I haven't done that yet. Okay, so we'll do that right now. So only thing I think I set up was the attack. Yeah. Let's look at the enemy's attack. So the enemy's attack is different from the player's standard attack. This is your enemy's attack times 4 minus the variable 41, which is defense. Now, when you're setting up a system like this, it's kind of important that you have some sort of notes. Like I'm using Sublime here. And for some reason, I got when I did Windows updates, my sound stopped working, and now if my computer goes into sleep mode, I have to restart to get my sound working, and my Blue Yeti Pro, I have to unplug it and plug it back in to get it work. I don't know. Weird stuff is happening ever since this last Windows update. I don't know what they're doing. I don't want Windows 10, Microsoft. I don't want it. I'll get it eventually, probably. You'll make me have to get it, but I don't know if you guys feel the same way. But anyway, so my program Atom, my IDE that I was using for stuff like this, stopped working after that update. Just doesn't work anymore. I don't know what happened. So I had to download Sublime. We got Sublime, and what I was saying is you want to take notes when you're setting up these sort of systems. Ignore the Final Fantasy XI sound effects in the background. Sorry about that. So we have I've sort of made like a little variable location chart to let me, just a quick reference if I need to look, you know, I'm in the damage formula, I don't want to have to go out to an event and look at a variable. I can just see, okay, I know that my defense variable is variable 41. So I can use that and call that right there, and I keep that up on another monitor over here. It's a good idea to do something like that if you want to make a system where you have a lot of switches and variables. It's not even that hard, and it's just a great idea to do. Stay organized. So the enemy's attack version is going to multiply their attack minus the skill, the variable of defense. So the higher your defense, the less their attack is going to do for their physical attack. Also minus the defender's defense. So your vitality, which is your... It's kind of weird because B.DEF is the game's defense, which I've renamed in the terms to vitality. So if we look at defense, I've renamed that to vitality. So I've made my own defense skill in a variable. So let's look at, now that we've looked at that damage formula, and you see how that kind of works, I need to redo all these damage formulas. We're going to do that next. But before, excuse me, before you actually use these skills in your game, like if you were to run the game and cast fire right now, it would crash because variable 1 and variable 2 is undefined. It doesn't know what that is. So you have to initialize your variables, and all you really have to do that is whatever map the player starts on, you're going to create a new event. And in this event, you're going to set the trigger to auto run. And then you're at the end of that event, you're going to do control self switch A on, create a new page that has an action button. So and then nothing in the contents with the condition of switch A on. So that's all you really have to do once you've controlled all your variables. So what you really need to do is control your variables. That's just the setup. You're going to do an auto run that's going to be off the map. Like you'll put this over here. And you have it auto run at the very bottom of all your stuff you want to initialize. You control self switch, go to the next page, and then that one's not auto run. If this is auto run, it'll lock it up. But anyway, the bulk of this thing, all we're doing is controlling a variable and setting a variable to a number. You can set it to 0 or 1 or 1,000 or whatever you want. As long as you tell it that this variable is something now, when you call upon it in the battle scene, the battle manager, it won't crash and say undefined. So in order to do this, you just right click, insert new control variables, select the variable that you're going to have in a damage formula, hit OK, set it, or actually just set it just set it to whatever you want, 0, 1, or 1,000 or 1,000,000, whatever you want it to be, and then hit OK, add that one, and then have that run only one time. Now it's important that you don't do this. You don't do erase event, because if you were to erase event, then what it's going to do is load the event again when you get back into this map. So say you go to the dungeon, you level up your skills, you come back, well, all your skills are set back to 0. So erase event is for things that you want to continue to come back and take effect every time you enter the map. So you're not erasing event on this, but you will be using erase event for certain things like enemy encounters. Now for this game, we're not going to be doing any random battles. All battles are going to be optional. Thanks, Squall. Yeah, I'm excited too. This is a project that I've sort of had on my mind halfway through The Legend of Driftwood, but I got too kind of bogged down with the game, and I wanted to do more with it, but a lot of my plugins were breaking, and the longer that I was waiting to like release it, the more issues that I was having with it. And so I thought it would be a great idea. It's a perfect time to do a fresh start. I know at the beginning of that project it said 5-6 hour demo, which I know that's pretty long. That's ambitious. Like I said in I think episode 1, I was talking about the scope of your game. The scope, my initial scope was too large. And in the end, I think if I would have aimed for a smaller scope, I could have made that game better. But instead of dwelling on that, I'm starting a new project. That game is out there. The demo's out there. It's got the first chapter of what I had in my head. One of these days, I'll redesign some of the things and take out some plugins and add some plugins and maybe redo some maps and do chapter 2 for that storyline. But I'm kind of focusing on this mechanic one. This dungeon crawler, you know, I like these sort of dungeon crawler type games. But yeah, so I've initialized all the skills that we have. We're going to set all of our skill levels to 1 by default. And then the Kraken Club counter I've initialized because I brought that over from... You could have seen my Kraken Club tutorial if you want to learn how to do that. I'm not going to go over it. All I did was copy paste it into this project and change the number that I was looking for to fit the variable that I want in this game. I had to change the variable for all that, but everything else is just the same. And now that I know a little more JavaScript, I can fix this to make it work better. I don't know if I'm going to put it in the game. I just like it. I could clamp this so that it only goes to a certain point, and yeah, I'll deal with this later. I'm going to optimize this a little bit better. But I have so much more stuff to do. Let's take a look at how we're going to design the elemental skills for the enemy. So we're not going to be using these variables, but we also want to use our enemy's fire resist skill to deduct damage. So we're going to erase these variables, because see, now we're on the enemy versions. We're going to have to give it more power than that, or otherwise it won't do any damage. So we're going to use 4 for this first one. And it was 2, right? So we're going to take all this off. We're going to use 8. This one's going to be 16. And this AoE version, which won't really be used at all, so I don't really need to do anything to it. But I'm just going to keep it in sync just for... so I don't get confused later on. And I'll do the same with the rest. But first, what I want to do is look at my reference. So I need to find my fire resist skill. So that would be variable number 2, my fire resist. So the player's fire resist is going to come into play here. So when the enemy uses this skill, the player's fire resist is going to reduce the damage that is dealt. So we're going to do minus variable 42. And I could multiply that by something. I don't know if I should, though, because I don't want the damage to be null. Because we're also going to take the defender's magic defense into account. So it's also going to do that. And it shouldn't matter at all what order these are in. So I could do magic defense here and the variable right here. It shouldn't matter at all. So we'll just go the resistance with the magic defense, which is willpower in this game. Actually, what we're going to do is multiply that by 2. We're going to multiply the resistance by 2, Because this is going to go up 5 every level, and then you're not going to have as many skill levels. Actually, we need to give this a little more defense. So resistances, I think what we're going to do is have them multiplied by 5. So it's not going to take this number and then multiply it by 5. It's going to do this first and this first. So it'll take this number, whatever your fire resist is, multiply that by 5. And also take this one. This is going to create a negative that's going to be subtracted from this number. So that looks right. We'll have to test these. But I think that's right. So what I'm going to do now, to save myself some time, I'm going to copy this and go to the I skill, and I'm going to paste that for the enemy version. Except this time we're not using variable 42, we're using variable 43. So I'm going to edit this by saying 43. And because I put these in order, it makes it really easy to just go 44. 45. 46. 47. Now let's check. Am I still set up right? Yep, looks good. Okay. So we've got the tier 1s done. For the enemy curing, okay, it looks like I only did, I've only changed the cure. So we're going to get this one and change this one, change this one, and change this one. So the variables, the enemy's never going to cure the player, and if they did, you shouldn't have any resistance to it anyway, so we don't need any variables right there. Only time we would need the variables is on the player's version of it, which is 61, and which is our healing variable, which I haven't noted, so let's write that down. And then I made another skill that I haven't used yet, enhancing skill. We'll figure out what to do with that. I don't know if I'll need that variable. It's not 63, it's 62. Okay, let's go back to the enemy skills. We've got all of our tier 1s done, and we've got our curing, our enemy curing spells done. So what I'm going to do is go to the top one here. I'm going to copy this formula, because it's going to be similar. And so we'll go to the second one, but this time it's just going to be twice as strong, because it's the tier 2. So we'll paste that in there, and we're going to go your magic, it's the enemy's casting magic attack power, which is wisdom, times 8 instead of 4. But the defense and the magic defense and the fire resist variables are going to stay the same. So when the it wouldn't be an increase in damage if I upped these in turn as as much. I would still be taking similar amount of damage, and the enemy's spending more MP, and it's a higher level enemy, and by this time you'll have more HP, so we're not increasing the damage reduced. Does that make sense? Is that increasing the damage reduced? Yeah, we're not increasing the damage that's being reduced. We're only increasing the damage that's the number that's increasing the damage. I just wish I could talk. That would be great. So let's do it tier by tier. So we're on tier 2. What we're going to do is take this formula, go to ICE 2, paste this over here, but we need to change this variable to 3, or 43. Lightning is going to be 44. I really wanted to use armor scaling, but it'll just throw off all of the calculations. In all honesty, this is the long way to do it. This is a harder way to do it. Using armor scaling is a much easier way to do it. But I have a particular way that I want it to run, and I know how I want it to run. So because of that, I'm just gonna handcraft it. You know what I mean? I think in the end it'll yield a better result. It'll just take a lot more time, which is okay. All right, so we've got our tier 2s done. No, we don't. I've messed them up. So we've got 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. Check that. 47 wind. Yep, 46 stone. Or earth. Yep. Okay, that's fine. Now we have our tier 2s done. Let's take this formula and go to tier 3, paste that here, and multiply this number. Now we can take this damage formula, go over to fire 3, paste that, change the variable to check for cold resistance, paste this here, check for lightning resistance. So 44, 43, 44. The reason why I'm checking so often, just triple checking, is because if you mess up one thing here and these damage formulas, it'll take you forever to find out. It could be in the game for a while until somebody, it's like, okay, the game's done, and then you get a bug report like this skill's broken, you know. And then you have to re-upload and redistribute for like a bug like that, you know. So triple check your stuff when you're doing stuff like that, if you plan to share it. Got plenty of space for more skills. Okay, so we're not going to do the AoE for the enemy. We're not even going to mess with them. I mean, I pretty much set them up, but I didn't do the resistance because you're going to have one party member, so there's no reason that I'm even going to award these skills to an enemy. I made them for the past game, and then I edited them, and then I wasn't even thinking when I changed the costs and everything. You know, started doing that. Because I'm like, why would the enemy need an AoE, right? It's one party member. So these damage formulas would not work correctly. They would be based off of the player skills, but the enemies are not going to have them. I'm just not going to delete them just in case I want to change the way they work later on. I have them as a point of reference. Oh, we had a special request from Dark Hero. He wants me to make a song of cacophony that has a random chance to add different states or something. Let's do that for Dark Hero. Okay, I don't want to make it too powerful though, but we'll say a 2% chance to poison, 2% chance to blind, 2% chance to silence, 2% chance to enrage, or not enrage, to rage. Enrage is another state that I've added that it just increases your attack. Rage is like berserk. I'm gonna rename that. You know what? I'm gonna do that right now before I forget. Let's go to states. Do I have rage as a state? I'll show you guys the states that we added to rage. We're gonna call this berserk. Yeah, because that makes It's something that I will know better. Because I made a skill called Enrage, which is a buff, and Berserk is a debuff. So... Oh, we already did that one. Fascination, which is a charm. It's basically a charm. Might rename that too. And I think he said something about like it could even give positive states, but I'm gonna make so the positive states as a lower percent chance. Matter of fact, if I'm gonna do that, I need to change these to give a little bit more of a percent chance, 3% for debuffs, and then 1% for buffs, and probably just have more possible debuffs than buffs. It's kind of an interesting concept. You might be giving the enemy like TP regen, MP regen, HP regen, or you could just like blind it and silence it. You never know. Stun, that's a debuff. We'll say 3%. Because I'm going to organize it. We'll put that up there. Paralyzed, that's a debuff. Enrage is a buff. Disease, that's a debuff. Doom, ooh, that's a debuff, but that's a powerful debuff. We're gonna just say 1% on that because it's too strong. 1 out of 100, you'll just basically instantly kill him. that alone makes it a useful skill. Unless they have doom resistance, which a lot of bosses will. But we're gonna go ahead and add these two. Burning. That's a debuff. Bleeding. Chilled. We're gonna go over to the states next, and I'll show you what all these do. I'm sure some of you probably already know. Burning, bleeding, chilled, shocked. Soaked. Rocked. Dizzy. Okay. Yeah, we're not going to give them the attack states, though. That'll probably do it for that. Okay, so how many buffs do we have? 1% chance to give them regen, 1% refresh, regain, haste, and rage. So 5% chance to buff him, approximately. You know, 5 attempts at 1% is not the same as 1 attempt at 5%, but it's an approximation. Wow, so overall, it's just mainly an attacks. Yeah, so it shouldn't be a 50-50. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17. No, 16 times 3 plus 1. So what is that? So there's a 49%, approximately 50% chance that you're going to land a debuff. And maybe a 5% chance that you buff the enemy. Overall, interesting spell. Really, really interesting. 1% chance that you instantly kill him. So, I mean, it's a really cool idea. Thank you for that suggestion, Dark Hero. And we're going to put this in the game for you. And I think I'm going to leave that just the same. I kind of, maybe I should... I'll remove that and leave your name, Dark Hero. I'll let the player know that what it does. But for now, until I make the Siren Scales, we're going to leave that comment that you left. The second one that you left. I don't know what MP it's going to cost. I feel like this should cost TP. We'll make this one cost TP instead of MP. Occasion, battle screen, 1 enemy. It's a tech. It's going to be a tech. And it's a certain hit, yeah, because it's going to add these states. Animations, let's find an animation for it real quick. I've imported Yanfly's animations, which he used a lot of the ones that were built in and renamed them and stuff, but there's some custom ones in there too. Alright, what should it look like? That's the thing. I think we'll just go with Sonic Wave for now. It makes sense. Yeah, it won't do any damage. It's just going to be a TP skill, certain hit, but it's not really certain because... Wow. This is a very random skill, and I think it'll fit perfect. Alright, let's move on. As for items, I've put the same ores, ingots, and all the gems that weren't actually fully utilized in the last game. The last game will take the players up to Adamantium. You can finish the story and you see Obsidian when you're fighting the dragon. I'm not going to give too many spoilers, but at the end of the game, before you fight the boss, you'll run into these 2 ores that you could mine if you've been doing the skills in the Legend of Driftwood. But after you sort of beat the main storyline, you see the credits, and then you get the airship. Then you can fly over to the place where you can access the farming system and start like farming stuff. But if you go up north, there's a cave, and in that cave there's obsidian and adamantium. So you can get up to those tiers in that game. These others, the second half, Nebusite, Deozite, Morphite, Espergite, Coral, Aegisite, and Driftite, you can't even get those in the game. You have to, but they're there. They're set up. They have their own weapons that I put in the game. They're all using, they all have a recipe that can be crafted. They have a book that holds all the recipes. They have a specific color. They have a specific number of upgrade slots, a specific image. They're all customized. I mean, I spent a ton of time on all of them and never used half of them. So I really wanted to be able to utilize that. So in this game, it's going to be one of my goals to fully utilize all the way up to Driftite, which is the tier, 13? Tier 13. So we'll see if that happens in 2 hours. Or at least to the 12, and then, the hardcore players will get the last tier, the last 2 tiers or something. Of course, harps were for Dark Hero's character that was going to be the bard in Chapter 2. None of those got utilized either. But in The Legend of Driftwood, you can still get the bard. But you have to get to the end of the game. You've got to go to the arena, fly in the airship, fly across from the left continent to the right continent, or from the west continent to the east continent. and then you land, you'll see everything has titles, so you can see what it's called using Yanfly's plugin, the mini event label, or event label, yeah, mini event label. And you go to the monster arena, you buy capture weapons, then you fly around and you land in different areas and you fight creatures, you capture them. You take those back to the arena, you buy a fight ticket for 100 coins, and then you enter a battle with one of the creatures that you captured. When you win a battle with the creatures that you captured, they're 10 levels higher than you. No matter what level you are, they're 10 levels higher. So it's going to be a challenge to beat them, but if you beat them, some of them you'll probably find ways to beat them. There's tricks you can do. They're not all super resistant to everything. You can get around, cheesing your way through some of them. You're going to get event tokens. With those tokens, you can buy hireable party members, mercenaries. So that's the end game. When you start building your own characters, there's a bunch of I actually just want to show it to you guys because I have it up here on the other. Not everybody will even get this far, so I might as well show you a little bit of it. Towards the end, after you've done, you get to the monster arena. You beat the story, fly over here, talk to this guy, or you talk to this guy, buy weapons, then you go back out and you capture the creatures, and then you talk to this guy and you can fight. You buy a token from him, and you can fight any of the creatures that you captured here. Once you beat creatures here, you get tokens. You talk to this NPC, and this NPC will charge you 100 tokens to build a custom party member. So where did I put that at? This is one I was working with HemeWorks' plugin, and it didn't work out, so I redid it to this one, which then I've optimized it more without the plugin. I just did it all eventing. Well, I actually coded it, but it's a lot of script calls, but it's not complicated script calls. It's just manipulating a variable for an actor, changing the class. So you basically, you pick any one of these, and if you pick that one, that's what it's going to look like. And then you're going to pick the class for it. You're going to pick so you're going to name it, you're going to pick the icon, you're going to name it, and you're going to pick the class, and that's it. But you can pick a class that you can't even get in the game yet. So you can create a bard by doing that. So you can actually get the bard that was going to be Dark Hero's class, but you have to do it that way. So it's very, very in-game. Alright, sorry for the... sidetracked. Kind of got... on a tangent there. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna use harps in this game though. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, added all those weapons. Did the same thing with the armors. We're gonna get to these expanders in a second. So the Kirkbride shell, he already saw that. I added that item for him. I'm gonna tweak the way it works a little bit too. I'm going to probably give it more defense or something. But all of the ores and the ingots, the same thing with those. I added all the tiers for helmets, And in the game, you can only get up to adamantite, I think, for the armor. I know for sure I made the book for weapons. I'll have to check again to see if I made the book to adamantites. Yeah, I did. I think I made that purchasable. I also made the lapidary arts, like 2 and 3, purchasable, and don't buy those. They cost a lot, and they don't do anything in the game yet. So I should just take those out, but that would cause me to have to redeploy and then zip and then upload and then rechange the links and contact Yanfly and ask him to change the links. And it's, it's a lot of work just to do something small like that. But for those of you listening and playing the last game, don't buy the lapidary arts, the gem crafting. You don't need to. It doesn't do anything. It was intended to, and I always make more than I actually use. So hopefully in this game I don't do that, and I'll be able to get to tier 13. Moving on to some of the accessories. We're using Yanfly's lifesteal to create items that will steal life. So if you have these shells on, I think I'm going to switch these to relics though, instead of like necklaces. Yeah, it makes more sense because they're powerful. Also, I'm going to adjust the values on them because I don't have anything awarding gold yet, and I'm not sure how I'm going to handle gold or currencies. I do have Yanfly's alternative currency plugin, and I'm going to use that for something. I don't know exactly what. But I'm using the equip skill plugin, and basically you can add this note tag, equip skill slots plus or minus, to any weapons or armors. So I've made some relics that are just general armor, but basically they just let you have more skills equipped. And as you see, it works like Final Fantasy XI's Blue Mage. When you equip the skill, you get a bonus, an equip bonus. So like for this one, Soaking Attack 2, Wisdom 2. Oh, let's go to states. I didn't do that. So the states that we have is the default 10, and then regen, refresh, regain. Refresh is MP regen, regain is TP regen. Agility is, since I'm using Yanfly's CTB system, agility is basically how many turns you get in combat. So haste, which would normally give you more turns in combat, by increasing your agility by 20% and adding 50 to your attack speed, you're essentially doing the same thing. And since we're using CTB, I don't need those two note tags. But if I was using ATB, this skill would still work. So this is giving you a 25% start on the CTB and a 25% turn. So you're going to get more turns if you're hasted, guaranteed. And I may have to even nerf that a little bit. But haste is strong in every game that has haste. And slow is equally as strong, but almost as strong as haste. So haste is strong in this game too. Stun, I've had to nerf this several times. I think originally it was like 5 turns. I'm like, that's ridiculous. You'll die in 5 turns. But so stun is 1 to 2 turns. You know, if you get hit again, there's a 50% chance it wears off. So stun is like a temporary stop your turn. Maybe take a turn or 2 from you. Paralyzed a little bit longer. It doesn't wear off when you get hit. So if you get paralyzed, for sure you at least lost 2 turns, but no more than 3 turns. Enraged, guaranteed 5-turn attack, magic attack bonus. That's it. Disease, it's a long-lasting attack debuff. 30 turns. It lasts for 30 turns. It reduces all your stats by 10%. So disease is not a good one to get. It's not like, it's not like Doom, which is you're dead. You get doomed. The next turn that it ticks, you're dead. So that'll be used very sparingly. Burning, I think I talked about that at the very beginning, what these states do. It does a negative 5% regeneration, which is like a poison type effect. And I feel like that might be a little strong since I'm giving so many ways to inflict this. I'm actually going to bring this down a little bit, or up, rather, because it's a regeneration. We're going to make all of these to 3%. Bleeding, I think whoa. Yeah. Bleeding, we're going to do 5%. The thing about it is, it also increases the damage you take from that element. So when you're burning, not only are you like fire poisoned, but you're also taking 25% more damage from all fire attacks while you're in that state. So with physical, you're not, since there's so many physical attacks, well, there will be so many physical attacks, I didn't want to give it such a giant bonus. So it's 10% more damage from all physical attacks, but the poison effect is stronger for bleeding. Wow, that hour went by super fast. I think there's a few more things I want to show you, and then I got to cut this episode. If it's more than when it gets, the videos start getting over an hour, it just starts taking all day for them to process. So I need to get this set up. So basically, your burning attack is going to add a state that gives you. It's going to add, it's going to add. It's a state. It's a passive state that adds an attack state that gives you a 5% chance to inflict the state of burning on your target. It's complicated, I know. But with the equip system, I can use a note tag, like we'll go to fire. So I can say equip state 40. So when you have this skill equipped, it's not only is it giving you your magic attack power times or plus 10, but it's giving you the passive state of 40. So it's giving you burning attack, which is letting all of your attacks have a 5% chance to burn your enemy. And when they're burning, your fire spell, the skill that you equipped, will do 25% more damage. I think that's really cool. I like that idea, and I'm going to definitely use that. And the same thing applies for all of the other ones as well. The chilling, shocking, soaked, rocking, dizzy, and so forth. I haven't done one for the bleeding, but how I want to handle the bleeding is make weapons that add that state. So I like, like the sharp stiletto or something like that. I'm going to have a lot of random named weapons. Oh, another website I want to show you guys real quick before I cut this stream. How can you open up more RPG Maker? Steam. Oh, Chaos. What you want to do is open it up through Steam like you normally do when you have one up, right? Then you go to a folder. Like you can do it like this. Just go to your game, open folder. And then, so that would be for this one that's already open. So you don't need that one. But you want to navigate to your other game. Like this one. Not this one because it's got so many things going on. I don't want it to crash. But go to any of your games, your other games that you're working on. And basically all you have to do is double click on the game dot... Man, I can't find a friggin... We'll go to this one. Just double click on the game.rpg project and it'll open up a second one. And then you can have two of them. So you see I have two of them. Hopefully that works for you. That seems to work for me. I just double click on it, it opens up another one. Let me know in Final Fantasy if that doesn't work for you and we'll figure out something. What was I doing? Oh, website that I wanted to show you guys. Let's bring that over here. I think I bookmarked it. Hopefully I bookmarked it. It was some random name generator, basically. But it's super cool. It has like a... Oh, here it is. Okay, it's called fantasynamegenerators.com. And check it out. You can go to like, let's go fantasy names, no, other gens, armor creator, other names. Yeah, let's just go to other names. Okay, say we want to find some cool names for like magic types. We'll just go to other names, magic types. And then it'll give you random magic types like chain bending, fire magic, emotional, sorcery. That one's funny. Dream bending, phantom sorcery, devil's rituals, transformation, and just you click on this button and it generates like just random stuff. Water ritual, draining magic, high magic, haunt magic. Let's go to something else like say your game has in the storyline there's like a plague going around, but you can't think of a cool name for the plague. Go over here and just generate some random names. The abnormality pandemic, the grim death. I mean, this is a really cool website. I want to find like attack move names. Nova, Thunderclap, Whirlwind, Fluster, Banish, Funnel, Missile. Yeah, see, this is really cool. I mean, even like weapon names and stuff. Let me see, they have weapon names, weapon abilities, weapon names. Here we go. You want to make like a legendary weapon, but you can't think of like a cool name for it. Let's find the name for a legendary dagger. Sunstrike, Lustful Reaver, Stormforged Saber, Silver Saber, Swift Blade of Ending Hope. You know, that sounds legendary. That's Murder, Fang of Broken Bones. That sounds awesome. Reckoning, this is the winner. Reckoning, Promise of the Corrupted. That is the winner right there. You know what we have to do though? We have to make a legendary weapon now. We have to make a legendary weapon. And we're gonna call it Reckoning, Promise of the Corrupted. And I've added Yanfly's icon set and added some of my own in there too. So it's gonna look like this one right here, the Dark Dagger. Promise of the Corrupted. Doom. Wait. Instead of typing Doom, I can go /IT and then in brackets. Okay, so what I wanted to do is have a chance to inflict Doom, but I also want the player to know that, so I'm putting that in the description. But instead of typing Doom, I'm going to the states, and I'm going to find where Doom is at, and it's at 19. So in this weapon, we're going to put /IT 19, and then it should show an icon of Doom and then say Doom, but I want to test that to see if I did it right. So what I want to do is put it in a box right here just to test it out, see if we can... Oh, wait, no, I don't have to manually make it there. You can just quick create. Wait, where did I make it at? Did I make that as an armor? Did I make that as a friggin' armor? No, it's okay. It's down here. Let's copy it. Actually, yeah, let's copy it. Let's go to the top. Let's paste it in number 1. Reckoning, Promise of the legendary, Promise of the Corrupted is going to be item number 1 for weapons. Now let's delete it from over here. Clear it. Okay. It doesn't actually do Doom yet, but I just want to test the text on it. So item 1 increased by 1. Yeah. Let's put us over there. Let's save it real quick. Test this out. I wanted to see if it actually shows if I spelled that, if I did that right. I did that a lot. I forget the syntax all the time. It would be an equipped, right? And he could use daggers, so he should be able to. Oh, I know what I did wrong though. It needs to be a weapon type of dagger. And then we'll just say hit physical for now. Is there a hit dark? I'll have to make it. Or what about Doom? Death. Yes, it's gonna have a death animation. And then what was the name for? Is it like / item icon? Or no, it's like weapon icon, or is it icon weapon 1? Man, I wish I could remember what let's see how that goes. That's IW. Maybe I'll switch that around. I wish it would show it in the editor, and when they make 1.3, I hope they add that, where you look at something. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's /IW, like icon weapon, and then the number, and you see how it shows it right there. I didn't even spell it out or anything. I just put that /IW1 in braces, and it did all of that. So we found that. Now let's look at it. Does it? And there. So the IT is the one for state. So I don't know why. I guess ST and S was taken for something. So icon state. So Reckoning, Promise of the Corrupted is a legendary dagger with a chance to Doom. And right now it doesn't really Doom. It doesn't even give any stats. So let's fix that. I'm gonna balance this so that it's not just ridiculous. I want this to be a serious game, but also be fun. So it's going to have 50 attack for now. So we'll just write STR because that's my attack for this game. Strength would be attack. Plus 50, and we need to give it a attack state. So we'll go to attack state, doom. Now what is so that it's not overpowered, 10% chance. That's pretty strong still. Cool. Yeah, so that website, once again, guys, fantasynamegenerators.com. Check it out. You will love it when you figure out how easy it is to you'll just be blasting through the skill, weapon, because there's so many cool names. But anyway, I've got to cut this episode, otherwise it'll take me 7 years to upload to YouTube. Even with my 30 megabit per second upload, it's just they can only process it at a certain speed. So it uploads fast, but then it takes forever to process, and I want to get this out before it's midnight. So thank you guys so much for coming to the stream. Everybody who is here for the live stream, you guys are awesome. Everybody who's watching on YouTube, you guys are awesome. Remember to like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you like this sort of content. If you want to see more RPG Maker MV Let's Make a Game content, and if you want the series to continue on, just give it a like. Let me know you want to, because I continue series that get popular, that have thumbs. When too many thumbs down, I'm like, all right, maybe people don't want to see that. So anyway, you guys are great. We'll see you in the next episode of Let's Make a Game.